first to Iran. Let's bring in Florida Congressman Michael Waltz. He is a member of the House Foreign Affairs and Armed Services Committee, and it's his birthday today. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, John. Happy to have made it 5 decades.
Yes. Oh, it's the big 5-0 for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, and I have too many soldiers and Green Berets who never made it this far, so you'll never hear me complain.
All right. Well, we'll have to raise a glass to your celebration and to their honor at some point. Want to ask you about the news over the last 24 hours. The 2 Iranian-backed militias say that they've suspended their attacks against U.S. interests in the area. Do you have any doubt that that order had to come straight from Tehran?
Yeah, John, how we know these militias, these proxies operate is, Iran gives general orders and then gives the training, the supplies, the material, the weapons to be able to execute. And this is where we've really parsed words with the administration. Even the October 7th attack said, well, we didn't know that they were directly ordered to do that attack that day, but they give general orders and the resources to do it. What we also know is when Iran says stop, they stop. And this is why we have to restore deterrence. And to do it, we have to hit things Iran cares about, like its operatives, its facilities, its oil terminals. Iran will trade the lives of its proxies. That's a good trade for militia lives for ours. We have to start taking Iranians off the battlefield.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because the Pentagon says, OK, it's all well and good that Kataib, Hezbollah, and others have said, well, we're not going to attack the U.S. anymore because the Rubicon has been crossed. And now the president has made a decision that he is going to respond. The question is how, when, and for how long. You mentioned a couple of targets that you thought would be good ones for the Pentagon to hit. Yeah. Specifically, what do you think Biden will do, though?
Well, don't ask me to get in the head of President Biden, John, but I'll tell you what I'd recommend. There's a lot of room between these kind of feckless attacks, bombing warehouses in the middle of the night, taking out some militia leaders, and actually hitting Tehran proper. You hit IRGC operatives that are running around Iraq and the Middle East training these militias. Soleimani's successor is also freely moving around that could be targeted. Or to go up another rung in the escalation ladder, and this is a twofer, the Karg oil terminal, which exports about 90% of Iranian's oil and is offshore. Now you're drying up the cash and hitting something that they care about. So I think there's a number of things that we should have done a while ago. I hope the president takes decisive action before we lose any more soldiers.
All right. Well, I expect that we'll probably hear very soon what the president has decided in terms of some sort of a release from the Pentagon. Let's now move into China and this cyber threat that Christopher Wray, the FBI director, has been talking about. We learned, as Rich Edson pointed out, that a number of Chinese nationals have been indicted on charges of selling U.S. technology to Iran. There is also another operation called Volt Typhoon that the DOJ and the FBI are looking into. This is cyber hackers from China targeting critical infrastructure here in the United States. And here's what Chris Wray said about the nature of the threat that we face today. Listen here.
To quantify what we're up against, the PRC has a bigger hacking program than that of every major nation combined. In fact, if you took every single one of the FBI's cyber agents and intelligence analysts and focused them exclusively on the China threat, China's hackers would still outnumber FBI cyber personnel by at least 50 to 1.
So do you have any doubt, Congressman, this is China preparing for the next big conflict?
No, we know it is, John. It's the difference here is that this has crossed the line from collecting on us and using cyber to get inside of our systems to putting malware in that can take out our systems. So we have to start thinking about this differently. There is no difference in sending a missile into a dam or a water treatment facility than it is shutting it down through cyber means. It's an attack. It's an act of war. We got to begin thinking about it that way. And then secondarily, we can't play perfect defense, as the director said. They are overwhelming us with their offensive cyber. How do we flick the lights in Beijing and let them know that if they pull this trigger, this will be mutually assured destruction on both ends? And finally, we have to unleash our private sector. That's where the vast majority of our expertise is. We're
Yep.
thinking about this as government versus private. They're unleashing everything they've got at us. So we've got to take this incredibly seriously, because this will be the first strike, both in cyber and in space, if China decides to go on the offense.
Yeah, 50 to 1 they outnumber us by. That is troubling. Congressman, thanks for joining us again. Happy 50th birthday.
All right. Hey, thanks, John.